Today we'll see something on advanced DAX functions. Let's go and see what all we can do in advanced DAX functions. So I've made one text file where I have taken all the DAX functions with some examples as well. So I've listed down here so that it will be easy for you to understand. So I'll be explaining all these functions in detail so that you can use this in your projects or say assignments or dashboards. Right. The first thing is about the lookup value. The DAX functions, what we learned in our previous session, was for one table wherein I used to get say either columns or I can write some measures and I can do the calculations. But today what we'll do is we'll see how we can connect different tables and do the calculations and create some calculated fields either by columns or by measures, or we can see how we can create a different table itself. So lookup value, which is very much similar to your Excel lookup. Here what will happen is, say for example, if you want to have a value in a table wherein it is referring to another table. For example, let's go to this table here. If you go to this data, in this data table, I don't have say region. Let's click on this. So in this, I don't have region column, but I need the region values here, wherein I'll be taking that region value from this location table. Now, if you want to get this location table value, that is the region, to this data table, so I can use this lookup so that it will be easy for me to create the reports. Still, you can create the reports, but suppose if you want to bring that column here in this data table, so how to do that? So what I'll do, I'll go here, I'll click on this new column. When I say new column, a new column is created. And then we'll write a formula that is lookup value. So lookup value means I'm trying to look the value which I'm actually trying to take. Let's say in this case I'm taking location ID. So I'm trying to check this value. So whatever related values are there for this location ID, that will come and sit in this column. So let's say here get region. And here I'll say lookup. Say lookup value. When I say lookup value, it lasts for result column. So in that location table, so what is the value I need to pull in this data table? I will say region, comma. Now it lasts on which column I need to connect from data table to location table. I will take this location ID, comma. Now where am I searching? Which column I'm searching? I'm searching this location ID of data table. So these two should match. Say go here, location ID of this data table. Now I'll say enter. When I say enter, I'll get the regions from location table to data table. Now when you're using this lookup value function, you should be very careful because this will work from many to one. That means I can have duplicate values in this data table but not in location table. I'll tell you what. So let's say I'll go here to this data table. I have this location ID and I took this region. Let's go back to this location table. And here I want the sales data. So if you want to do that, I can refer this because I have location ID here. So I can go here, I'll say new column. And I'll use this lookup value here. I'll say get sales. And here we'll say lookup value. Now I need the result column, that is sales, from data table, comma, location ID is the common ID. So I'll go here, I'll give this location ID, comma, sorry, I'll take data location ID, comma, and search value will be location ID of location table. I'll say enter. Now you just see The formula is right, the columns are right, but the result will be error. The reason is when I'm taking this lookup value, I told you the value what I'm looking, say in this case data sales and data location ID. This ID which I'm taking from the table should be unique. That means no duplicate should be there. But in the same case, if I go here in this data table wherein I took this region value, if you say this, here I have duplicates in region location ID. But if you go to this location table location ID, they are unique. This one will be unique. So always keep in mind, whenever I'm using this lookup function, make sure that the values are unique in the table from where I'm pulling the data, and it can have duplicate values in the table where I'm actually putting the data. Fine. This is lookup. If you understand it, it's very simple. Similar to this, I have something called as related. What is related? I'll show you. Let's say I want to pull customer name here. I have a customer ID here, and I'll try to take the customer name. So I can use lookup because I have the common IDs, customer ID here as well as here. But we also have one more function that is called as related. So what this related will do, we'll see. I'll click on this column. Now I'll go here. I'll say get customer equals. This time I'll not use lookup, I'll just say related. When I say related, it will ask for the column. I'll say customer, sorry. So take it in data table. Column customer equals related, I'll say customer name. Just have to mention which column I'm taking from the table. So here I'm not mentioning anything about the table, I'm just saying take this customer name, but I'm using this formula that is related. You just say, I'll say enter, and you can see I'll get the customer name from customer table to data table. So if you see here, see, I got the customer name from customer table, but I just used only related. Let's go to this lookup value. Here I am specifically mentioning a table, its ID, and then taking the value. Here also I'm getting the value, here also I'm getting the value. But what is the difference between these two? There is a lot of difference actually. The result, what it is giving is same. It will give me the value according to the IDs what we have. But what is the difference? This is very easy. I'll say related and I'll take the value. But here it is a little confusing. So I have to mention the IDs and then take the value. But what is the difference? Let's go to this model. That is the relationship. If you go here, you can see all are actually connected. Means because of the IDs, they are joined. Now I've taken two tables. One is the customer and the location. Let me delete this. Delete the connection. Right. I deleted this location. The connection between location and data. Let's do the same thing for customer as well. So I deleted the connection between these two tables with the data table. Now let me go back to the data and see what has happened. Now if you see here, the get customer wherein I had used related is getting error, and the get region, which I took the region from lookup value, is still available. That means when I'm actually taking the value, if you are using related, that means it has to be related, both has to be related. Now you see, I'll just go here and I'll take this customer ID and I'll try to connect it, say customer ID, and I'll just drag and drop it here. I'm just trying to connect it. So connection has been, it's getting connected. Okay, now it's getting connected. Now let's say this location ID also, I'll just leave it as is. Let's go to this table and see. See, now I got the data. So this is the difference. So if you want to get the data from a related table, then these two has to be connected. Otherwise, you can just try to use lookup value and get the value as well. This lookup value is nothing but just similar to our VLOOKUP in our Excel. Fine. This is the lookup value. Now we are seeing the aggregated functions. That is sum, average, minimum. Sometimes what will happen is I need to get the sum from one table to another table. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to get a sum within this table, so I'll go here and I'll write a measure and say total sum and finish. So I'll get the data. Now what if I want to get the data? Say for example, let's minimize all this. Here I have ship mode. I want the total of the sales value of each ship mode. Now if you go to this data, the table data, here I have the ship ID. So here I will summarize it and get the sales data. That means I'm trying to add everything and get the data. So like this. Let me go here. I will create a table and I'll take the ship mode, and for that I will take sales value. Let me increase the font size. Quickly go to this format. So values. And let's change this to say 18, so that we'll have enough space and enough size. See this. Then I'll say column headers. Right. Now if you see this, this is one way of summarizing the data, that is aggregating the values and then checking this. What if I want that in the table itself? Say in this table itself. So I cannot use sum here, because for a column sum cannot be used, because sum is actually a measure which will aggregate. In the previous session I told the sum, average, minimum are aggregating functions which will take in a measure. I cannot take that in column. I'll show you an example. Let's say column, and if I try to use sum, see what will happen. See, I'm just giving an example. If I say sum, open bracket, it will ask for the column name. Let me go and take this sales, and let's see what will happen. See, it is giving me the complete total. That is the complete total it is giving. So instead of this, I can use something called as SUMX. This is for columns to aggregate the values. So how this can be used, I'll show you. Let's go to this data table first. Here, if I use this sum, say in the same table, say SUMX. So what will happen? It will give me the same value. That is, let's click on this column. I'll get a column here. Then what I'll do is say function SUMX equals see SUMX. I'll go here. If I say SUMX, it will ask for the table. So what is the table I'm using? Let's say I'm using this data in the same table, and it will ask for the expression. Expression is nothing but the column name, say, on which we are doing the calculation. Say sales, say enter. Now if you go and check, it will give me the complete total here. See? But my intention was to get the summarized data in another table. So what we'll do, let me just use the same column. I'll just remove this, or let it be here like this. Let's go to this table. I'll take one new column. Here we'll try to use SUMX. Instead of sum, I'll use SUMX. Here I'll say total sales shipment. The column name. SUMX. It asks for table. I'll say data, comma, and I'll say sales. See here, just observe. I'm just using this table data and I'm taking this data sales. But here it will not know on which ID I'm actually trying to summarize. It is just taking the entire table. If I say enter, so now there won't be any difference between this sum and this SUMX. But if you want to summarize this, let me copy this. And here I'll just do one small change. That is, I'll try to relate all these IDs like what we did in the related function. And then I'll do the formula here, say related table. Now I'm trying to relate this. If I'm not trying to relate, the entire total will be given there when I'm aggregating it. When I say related, what it will do is it will go and it will check all the IDs and then it will give me the summarized value. So related table, I'll say data, comma. Now I'll give that expression, that is sales. See the difference. Previously I had given only SUMX and then directly data, that is the table name. But now I'm trying to relate this with every IDs what we have. And now if I say enter, you see what will happen. I'll get the summarized reports for each IDs, or say each ship mode. Say like this. This is the related table. Right. Similarly, I have average. AVERAGEX. What this will do? It will give me the average. Let me just copy this. Quickly, I'll just try to create one more column. And here I'll say average sales. Now if I say enter, I'll get the average like this. The same thing you can use min and max and also count. So min will give me the minimum value. So what we'll do is we'll quickly finish that also so that we'll have those functions in the file. Let's try to create this one. Min say MINX and give me the minimum value of each ship mode here. Similarly, we'll make it MAXX. Say enter, I'll get the maximum value in this table. Right. So we have COUNTX, it will just count. Similarly, like what we have with the count of the aggregated function, that is measure. I'm just putting all this so that this will be there in the file and you can use this. Let's say enter. So I'll get the count of each ship modes here. Okay, product is nothing but the multiplication. So I'll just go here, just put this also here. Say enter, I'll get the product. Now this is for the SUMX, AVERAGEX, MINX, MAXX, COUNTX, and product. I think it's too big number, so it is not giving me. It is giving me infinite. We can take another table and we can do, but product will actually give me the multiplication. All right. Apart from all this, we have something called as CONCATX, concatenate X. You have seen concatenate. Concatenate actually combines the function, the columns. But what is this concatenate X? This concatenate X, what it will actually do is, it will take one table, combine all the data or say text, whatever is there in the column what you are referring, and it will give a separate column itself. What I was trying to tell you is, let me just minimize this. I'll go to segment table. I want all the ship modes to be here. So what I'll do, I'll say new column, and here I'll say get ship mode. Let's say concat X. It asks for table. I'll say ship mode. Please go through this parameter. It will be easy for you to understand. So, comma expression. It last expression is nothing but the column name. Say I want ship mode of this table, comma. It lasts for the delimiter. I'll say delimiter. I want this to be comma. Then order by. Order by means how the data should be sorted. I'll go here. I'll say ship mode. Select the ship mode, that is sort by ship mode, comma. It will ask in which order I need. I'll say ascending order. Close bracket. If I say enter, you just see all the ship mode details what is there, that will come. You see, like this. If it is related, if you have related columns, say I'll go here. I'll do the same formula here for data. Say new column. And here we'll do the same thing. So get ship mode equals concat X. Table say ship mode, comma expression say ship mode of ship mode table, comma delimiter. Let's give this time colon, comma. Then order by, again we'll say ship mode only. Order by ship mode, comma, and say ascending order, say enter. Right? See, here I'm getting this. Say first class, same day, or whatever. Now, I want this only the values. Say for example, only first class, or say whatever is related to the ship ID here. So I'll go here. Instead of this directly taking as a table, I'll say related table. So whenever you feel that you have a relationship between these two, and if you want to connect it, see the result now. If I say enter, see, it will give me the proper related results here, like this. So what I'm actually trying to tell you guys here is, if I use this related table, it will give me the results based on the related column, or say related say IDs what it will match. If I'm not mentioning, it will give me the complete aggregated values of that particular table. Okay, so don't get confused with related table and just without giving that related table. Related table will give me the related values, exactly related values. All right. Next is using calculated table. What is this calculated table? Fine. When I say related table, it was relating by IDs and then it was giving me some results. Like in this case, I'll go to this ship mode, and if I see here, I was trying to relate this and get the data. Now what if I want to get the results not by relationship, not by related IDs, but by filters? I'm mentioning filters. Now I want the sales value, the total sales value or average or minimum, whatever. I want only for region East. In this table, I need the data of sales for only region East. It should summarize in ship mode and I should get the value here. In that case, I have something called as calculated table. So what this calculated table will do is it will try to give me the filtered results, that is filtered table values, and then I can use SUMX. Same SUMX I'm using here also, but here I'm using the related table. So your related table will relate every IDs in the table and it will get connected and it will give me the complete result. But calculated table will give me result based on the filters. Let's see how it can do. Now let me go here and we'll say one column here, that is we'll try to give this say location and total sales. This total sales is nothing but I had created one measure. So quickly we'll create one measure here, or I'll show without measure also, with measure, both I'll show you. Let's go to this ship mode. So now we are doing without measure. I'll say new column. Again, understand we are trying to create a column. Column means it will give me the values here, individual values. Say get total sales for, I'll say East, equals SUMX. Now I want the filtered say table, say calculated table. It lasts on which table I need the calculated table. I'll say data, comma. It lasts for expression. Expression is nothing but the filters what I'm using here. Okay, for region I'm using, right? So we'll take location. That will take for sales. Say calculated table. Then I'll take location because location is in region. Region is in the location. I'll select this location. Now I'll say East. Location is East. Comma. It lasts for the expression. Now I need the total of it. Now I'll use this total something like this is sum. Then last for the column name, I'll say sales. That is total sum I need. I'll say enter. What is something here? Okay, do one thing. We'll take this SUMX only. SUMX related table. Say data. And then expression. Just trying to use this SUMX. Yeah, see. Now if you go and check this total sales, check this total sales for ship mode for complete data, it is something somewhere around 3,51,000. But if you go and check this one only for East, it is giving me 1,13,000 dates. See here what I've used. So instead of this, I can also use a measure. I'll tell you how to use the same function with the measure. But now let's understand this one. See, it's trying to filter. Now let's say I filtered this for only East. What if I want to filter this for more than one region? That means I'm trying to filter these values, say East and South. So in that case, let me just copy this. And then I'll say new column. Let me copy and paste the same formula here. Pasted it. I will say multiple. Here I'll say east. I need one more region. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll say instead of that equals, I'll use in operator and I'll use flower bracket like this, comma. Then I can use one more region here. I will say again flower bracket. So this parameters what I'm passing the values that should be inside flower bracket. Now I'll say enter. Now I'm trying to take east and south both together. See, now it got added some more data here. That means now I'm using for east and south. So that is the difference between related table and calculated table. So if you want the complete values without any filters, then I can use a related table, or if you want with some filters, the total I can use this, say calculated table. Now let's take this one, so whatever is there as a measure. Let me go to this data. I'll just create one quick measure. Measure is nothing but I'll say new measure. I'll say total sales. Say total sales equals sum of sales, that is data sales. Right. Let's go and check. See, have this total sales. Right. Now what we'll do, we'll go to that formula what we have created. Move. We'll take this calculated table. Copy. And then I'll create one column. And then I'll paste it. Let me remove this. And then let's take total size to get this sales. Yeah, the measure is here. Just do that. Say enter. Name section is already there. It's already there. Change this. There was one extra bracket there. See, so I'm getting same results here. So here I've used this SUMX, and here I created one measure, and then see I used the measure here. So either you can create a measure and keep it ready, and then you can use it here, or you can directly use SUMX like this. If you want, I'll just put this also in this notepad so that you can refer. Put it. So you can either use this way by creating a measure, or you can use this SUMX. So this is how you can use some of the calculations from different tables. Okay, it's very simple. Just try to remember related table or completely relating all your say fields, means the IDs from different fields. Calculated table for filtering the data and then getting the results. Same thing can be used for any of this, say SUMX, AVERAGEX, MINX or whatever. So you can use same thing here. That means you are trying to calculate the values in different tables as well. Fine. Let's scroll down. I have something called as measure. You guys know that measure means while I'm dragging and dropping, I'll get the values. When I'm actually dragging and dropping the values, say I've created one measure here, that is total sales. Let me go to this table. I'll just copy this and I'll create one more page and I'll paste it here. Fine. Now what we'll do, I'll take a region from location table. Always try to minimize this so that it will be easy for you to pull the columns. I just go here, say location. I'll take this region, take it here. If you see this, I'm getting the aggregated values here. So instead of this, I can also take the total sales measure what I had created just now. I'll take this total sales. So I'll get the same result because this is also aggregated values. Automatically, when I drag and drop the sales column, that also will be aggregated. Now what I want is, I want the contribution of each region in percentage. The contribution means what? This total sales of central divided by this value. That is the total of all the regions. So how to do that? So for that, what we'll do is, we'll try to take one more column here such a way that it will give me all the values instead of filtering here. The what results I'm getting here is, for central it will give me the aggregated values, for each it will give me the aggregated values. So it is giving me the aggregated values of each say region, each or whatever. So suppose if I remove this region and take state, then based on that column which I have selected, the aggregation will happen because here I've just taken only total sales, that is directly sum. Here if you see this, see sum of sales. So what I actually want is, I want the total of all the sales, means this value whatever I'm having, I should get that value when I drag and drop. If I'm dragging and dropping, it will get aggregated. But what I actually need is, I want this total value so that it will be easy for me to calculate the contribution. Contribution, nothing but each region, how much they are contributing with the total sales. Right. So for that, what we'll do is, similar to this calculated table, I have something called as calculate. This calculate, what it will do is, it will calculate the values based on the filters. I have the total sales measure what I've created. This will give me the aggregated values for the column which I'm dragging and dropping here. But what I need is the complete total. So what I'll do is, I'll use this calculate and I'll try to remove the filters. That means aggregation should not happen for any of the columns I'll drag and drop here. So what I'll do, I'll say all. That means take all the values for all the regions. Let's try this. I'll create one more measure. Select this table data. I'll say table. I'll say new column. Sorry, new measure. New measure. say total sales all. Now when I'm trying to use this, so previously I used sum, correct? That is sum of sales. Now what I'll do, I'll say calculate. It asks for expression. Say calculate. Now I have this total sales. That is, we've already taken that sum. So I'll take this total sales, which I've already written a measure, comma. When I'm saying this, it asks for the filters. Now I say I want all the values without filtering. I'll say all. Now it asks for the column. I'll give this region and I'll say close bracket. Say enter. Now what will happen is it will create aggregate values, but it will not bother of what column you are dragging and dropping. Now what I've done is I've taken specifically for the location, that is location region. Now let's go to this total sales. Where is that? Where did that got created? Where did that go? Oops, got created somewhere. It's okay, no problem. So it got created in ship mode. So what I'll do, I'll just drag this and I'll drop it here. See now, I'm getting all the values, means the complete total here without any aggregation or individual region what I've taken. But this will work only specifically for region column. Now let's say I want calculation here. That is this value divided by the total sales. Now what we'll do, we'll create one more measure. Say measure. I'll say contribution. Here, let's say region contribution. Region contribution equals total sales divided by total sales on. That means this total sales what you see here, this is for individual region values divided by the total value, whatever is there, the total sales value. I'll say enter. Just say I'll get this region contribution. Say region contribution. Let me take this and I'll put it here. Let me change this to percentage. See, it is giving me the contribution percentage. That is this value divided by the total sales. I'm getting this percentage. Fine. Now I got the contribution. Means whenever you feel that there is some calculation like this, I can take this. But here, what will happen? Let's see. If I remove that region, what will happen? Now what I'll do, I will bring this state and I'll put it here. Just see what will happen. Now the total sales here, the total sales whatever was there, it was giving me the 22,97,000 or something. Now automatically this got changed to the aggregated values of each values what I've dragged. Let me remove this region. See, I'm getting this value here. I'm getting the contribution as 100%. That means if I take this state, the aggregation, that is the filters, they calculate what we had written. I had specifically written for location region only. So now this formula what we have written here will work only for region. Now if I take this region and if I remove this state, then it will work properly. See, because I've specifically mentioned this as region. But what if I take this state and I need to calculate the contribution of this state here or any other columns if I'm dragging and dropping here, I should get the contribution according to the columns what I've dragged and dropped. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll go to this function what we had written, say total sales all, say this one, this all whatever I've given. Now I'll not specify the specific column name, I will specify the table itself. Say I'll mention location. Let me say enter. Now you just see what will happen. See, the contribution got changed. That means now whatever you take the column, here the total sales will give me according to the complete total without any filters. That means I'm trying to remove all the filters in aggregating. If I specifically mention here, let's say here I'll mention as state, then that will work only for state. This is specific, that is exactly for that particular column only. Now if I take region and if I remove this state, see, this will become 100% now because this will work only for state. So this calculate what it is there, it will help me in removing the filters and getting the values. So what I have here is for getting the complete values for particular column. Sometimes what will happen, I have 10 columns. I want to remove one of the columns. It should work for all the columns. Say here what I'm trying to do, the contribution for specific column. But what if I want to do for all the columns, like what we took this table, except for one column, say except for one or two columns here like this. So in this case, I was taking specifically for location region. But what I want is, I want the calculation should happen for all the columns except few columns. So in that case, I can use this all except. Let's try this. Let me go to another page. I'll copy this table. Put it here. I'll remove all these calculations. I have only region here. Now we saw how all function, all say option will work. Now we'll see how we can use this all except. Same thing. So I'll go here. I will take location, say measure. Then here, let's say calculate all except. Okay, right. I'll say calculate. It lasts for the expression. The expression is, I'll say total sales. We can either give total sales or you can use this sum of the sales. So anything is fine. Comma. Now I'll say the filters. All except. It lasts for the table name. I'll say location. Comma. Then it lasts for the column name. I will say region. So I'm trying to calculate the total sales except for region column in the location table. Right. So we have this calculate. So let me just take this and I'll put it here. See, Here I'm getting the values that is without say what say this will get aggregated, so this will not remove the filters. Let me take, instead of region, I'll take the state. See, you take any column now. Here, any column. Let's say I'll go here. I will take this city. Still, I'll get the complete total value without any filters. Now let me go and check this region. Remove this city. See, if at all I take this region, then the filters are removed except for this column. Let me remove this region. Take segment. So this, for another table, it will not apply. That means I've taken that location and say region. So within this table, if I'm taking this region, so this aggregation will work based on these filters. Otherwise, whichever column you take, see, this will not work. So it's very simple. So again, don't get confused. There are two things. One is all and all except. All means it will apply for specific region, or you can specify a complete table itself, wherein that will get applied to the entire table itself. Otherwise, if I have few columns, say except these columns, only that the filter has to get applied, then I can use this all except. So likewise also you can do the calculation. Say sometimes, as I told you, if you want to create this kind of calculation, that is the contributions, so you might have to get the complete total of the table. So in that case I can use these kind of, say, functions. Right, let's go back. Next we have something called as table. If you want to create a table, say separate table, then I can use these table functions. So where all I can use these table functions, I'll tell you. Say I want a separate table wherein I need all the data with the sales value is greater than 5,000. So here in this case, in this data table, there are so many data. Say in profit, I have minus profit as well. So if you want to do that, I have to go there and filter the data somewhere here, and then I have to create the reports. Instead, what I can do is I can filter the entire data here, and I can keep it as a separate table, and then I can get the values. How to do that? Now I should use this new table. Click on this new table, and here so here I'll say data filter. I'm just creating one table called as data filter 5000 equals, say, filter. When I say filter, it lasts for the table. See, table. I'll say data, comma, it lasts for the filter expression. I'll say sales is greater than 5000 and say enter. That's it. When I use this, a separate table will be created. See, separate table is created wherein I'll have data which is greater than 5000 only. So separate table. Here all the columns will be available with the functions what I've written on that. Right. This is one way of creating a table. Next is top. Top n. Top n is again similar to your filter, But here what it will do is it will filter the data not by the specific say condition, but it will say top 10 or top 100, top 20, whatever. You can just try to filter the data and then you can take it. Let's go here and we'll see table. And here I'll say top 100, top n. It lasts for n value. N value is nothing but how many values I need to filter, say 100, comma, it lasts for the table, I'll say data, comma, it lasts order by, on which column I need to order. Let's say I want to take all the top 10 or say top 100 sales value. I'll go here, I'll say order by the data sales column, comma, it lasts for ascending or descending. I'll say descending because the highest value will go on top and then the table is sorted. So based on that, I'll get the top 100 values. Say enter. So I'll get top 100. So if I go and click on this top 100, I'll get 100 records based on the sales. See, I'll get 100 rows, but this time it is based on the sales value, that is top 100 sales. Like this. In the previous one, we had given greater than 5. Fine. Next one is I want to get a table with different columns. Say for example, I have so many columns and I need to combine different columns from different tables and then combine and to get the separate table. So what we'll do, we have something called as summarize. What the summarize will do, it will create a separate table. Say like this. Say new table. Here, say summarize. Say summarize. It lasts for a table. I'll take the table as data, comma. It lasts on which column I should take. Let's say we'll take customer name, then we'll take say ship mode, okay, comma, I'll take this sales value and the profit from different tables. Now let's say enter. See, I got separate table with the fields which I needed. So what it will do, depending on the relationship what we have, this one, it will give me the data like this. If I want to add more columns, so whatever columns I need from different tables, I can just put it here so that I can use this for further any analysis directly. Instead of having one column and again connecting it, I can have more columns here and then do the calculation. So summarize means you just try to take all the different columns from different tables and create a separate table itself. Next, summarize columns. Summarize column is something like a pivot table where I can aggregate the values and create the table. So here I'm just trying to pull the columns itself, but it will not say aggregate. But here summarize columns, what it will do, it will aggregate the values. Say like this. So for example, new table, and here I'll say summarize column, say summarize columns. It will ask for a column. On which column I need to group. Let's say I'll take region, comma. Then it will ask a group by another column. Let's go here and I'll give directly a name. Say total sales, comma. Then here I'll say sales of state sales. I'll say enter. We have already taken this. Say the sales, which is a measure. I'll say enter. See, I have a region and I got the summarized values. I can add more columns also here. So I have this total sales. So I want, comma, say total profit, comma, and say sum of profit. Because I have not written any measure for this profit, so I'm just directly taking it as sum of profit. So here one more column will be created. Say total profit. Now let's say I want one more column. Say ship mode. Say comma enter. Now here I have region, ship mode, and the total sales and profit for those selected columns here. See, so you can create tables like this as well. This is summarized columns. So summarize means it will just take all the columns from different tables and it will give me a separate table. Summarized columns is something like aggregating the columns what we are actually taking from other tables. Right. Next one is distinct. Distinct means what it will do is, say for example, let me just save this. I have a table here location, but I want the unique value of all the regions. For some reason, say I want to use it for some slicers or say some other purpose. I want a separate table with unique values of one column. So in that case, what I can do is I can use this distinct. So it will create with unique values of the column what I've selected. Say table distinct region. I'll say distinct. It lasts for column. I will say region from location region table. See, enter. I'll get all the unique regions in this table. Say distinct region. See, I'll get the unique regions. So whichever column you specify, so I'll get the unique value of the column what I've selected. Right. Next one is add columns. This add columns similar to your summarize columns. But this add columns, what actually it will do is, it will take the entire table, a specific table. Say for example, in this case, I'm combining so many different columns from different tables and then I'm summarizing it, aggregating it. But add columns, what it will do? It will take one table. In that table, I can keep adding more other columns. So how? Let's go here. So what I'll do, I'll say table take a new table, and then we'll say new table add columns. So what it will do, it will ask for a table. Let's say I will take segment, because I've not used the segment table at all, comma, it will ask for a name. So if I'm taking any columns, let's say I'll take total sales, and already I've created one measure, that is total sales. Either I can take that itself, or I can use sum of the sales column, and I can do it. So it better take one measure, so that will actually help you in just directly using that measure here. So let me select this new table and see, a new column got added here. So if you add one more column to this table, I can still go here and I'll say total profit, comma, sum of profit. So I'll get that total profit also here. I should use SUMX here actually. SUMX. Collect table data. See, you get the value. So likewise, you can use this tables as well here like this. Fine. Next is about a table which you can create on date. This is very simple actually. I've just mentioned very clearly here. So I'll not be showing all of this, but I'll tell you what actually you can do with this date, say table. Now how to do this? Let me go back. Click on this. All these are actually for table function. Okay. So for not to confuse you guys, I'm just I've mentioned here columns, and whatever you can write it in columns, I've put it here. And then for measure, whatever you want, you can do it. I'll put it in measure, and then for tables, I'll put it in tables here. Okay, fine. So this calendar function, or say date functions, I'll just tell you. When I say calendar, it'll just give me a calendar. That means from the date I mentioned till the date I'm mentioning, it'll give me the dates. That I can use it for any kind of calculations. Say new table, I want to generate a calendar. That means from a specific date to another specific date. I'll go here. Let me say calendar 2020 equals, I'll say calendar, and it lasts for start date. I can use this date because date is the function which will convert that into a date format. I'll say 2020, comma, it lasts for month, and then it lasts for day, comma, end date, let's say date, or we'll say till today I need, just say today. If you want still December, you can mention that as December. So I've just mentioned this as today. So if I say enter, I'll get a separate table. See, from 1/1/2020, you go here, it will give me till 31/5/2020. Suppose if I would have mentioned another date here, so till there, the dates will actually get generated here like this. So you can utilize this wherever you feel that you need a dates and you want to create it. Right. Next one is calendar auto. So this one actually it is little confusing. So what this will actually do is it will create a auto date that is for the fiscal year. Means depending on the data what I have in my say year, in this whatever date I have. So based on that, it will give me a date. I'll just show you. I don't know how to actually explain you, but I'll just show you what actually it will show. So I have a date here, which is order date. So based on this date, automatically it will take the reports. So let me just say new table. say calendar, say auto, calendar auto. It lasts for fiscal year. I'll just say from 7th month. Okay, just have to mention the month number. Say enter. So whatever date I have in my model, so based on that, it will generate the date here. So I mentioned 7. That means it will start from 8th month. And data has become too much. Say calendar auto. See, starting from 8th month, from the day started until wherever the date I have in that particular, say, data model. So it is like it will take the date from the model what we have. That means in this order date I have data from 14, 15, 16 and 17. So based on that it will give me the dates. That's all. But let's concentrate on this. Next is dates between, date in period. Date between means similar to what we had this calendar. Same thing. What this will do is date between. It will give me the date between the data what I have mentioned here. Say for example, here I have this dates between. So let's take this new table. Let's say dates between. Here I'll say date between. So this will give me the dates from one date to another date. Now let's say I'll take this order date. So I'm creating one report. I need to filter. Okay, I need to create one table where I need the reports from one date to another date. Let's say I want 2017 data only. Then I can say date. Year is 2017, comma 1, comma 1, comma end date will be 2017, month will be 12, and day will be 31. So what will happen? In this table I'll get the data for this date from 2017 January to 2017 December 31st. Then I can create the reports. Or suppose if you want to create only for 1 month or 2 months or specific month, I can actually use this. So here dates between. So it will give me the date between the 1st Jan 2017 till 31st. So if you are creating any reports within this filtered data, you can use this date between. Dates in period. This one, what will happen, I'll tell you. I want a specific date. From that date, I need 3 months reports. Say 6 months reports. Date between will give me the date from one date to another date. Dates in period will give me from this date 5 months, 4 months, 4 days, 4 years. So I can specify the interval there. Let's go here. I'll show you how it works. Say new table. Say dates. Period. So I can mention the period there. Say dates in period. It lasts for the date. I'll say order date, comma. It lasts start date. Let's say here I have a data till 2017 or 18. I'll just take 2017 only. Say 2017, comma 1, comma, I'll say 1, comma. Here it lasts for number of intervals. This number of intervals is nothing but how many months, how many days, how many years I can specify. Let's say I want 3 months data, comma. Now I have to mention whether it's a day, month, or quarter. I'll go here. I'll say month. That means it will take 3 months data. Now here it will give me from 2017 January 1st to March 31st. That is 3 months data. That is dates in period. Go here. 2017. If you go here, it will give me 3 months data, and it is 31st March 2017. Like this. Okay, fine. Similarly, we have say if you guys are into sales, and it will be easy for you to understand this YTD, MTD, QTD. That means from that particular date, so it will just give me the MTD is for month to date. Okay, QTD is for quarter to date. and YTD is for year to date. So you just try this, okay? And here I have this end of month. Suppose if I have any date there, so it will just give me the end of that particular month what is there. So for example, if I have the 7/3/2017, then it will give me the end of that particular month. So this will be used for calculating the closing balance or something like that. So similarly, I have end of quarter or end of year. So people who are into finance, they'll actually understand better with this say formulas. Say end of month or end of quarter or end of year. Okay, fine. So this part is not there in your the yesterday's thing. So I just try to put this as well. So you just go through this as well. I'll send this again to you guys. Right. DAX functions. So whatever we have done here, there are hundreds of DAX functions, or you can use the combination of all this and you can create a lot of calculation. But to simplify, there are some more options which are called as variables. Whatever we have done here, that can be combined. Like what we used here, say dates between. This is the table. So some people, what they do, they'll use this as table. So if you go and check here, so I was using this, say related table, then again something I have to do. Then again calculated table, I used to filter something, and then again I have to take it in SUMMX and then do it. So again, if you want something else here, say here, if you want say the total sales, so I used SUMX here. If you see here, see again inside that related table. So this function, what will happen? It will keep on getting added. It will become very big function. It will become very difficult for us to debug that or understand that. Instead of that, what also we can do is we can break the function like this. We can break the formula by using this variables. So what are these variables? It's nothing but it's just a DAX functions, but we can have a simplified way of calculations. How? Let's say I have I want to add two numbers. Just say add two numbers. A simple two numbers. Let me take this segment column. Here we have very less columns, so it will be easy for me to explain you guys. I'll say new column. So I'll create one column here. I'll say add two numbers. Right? Say equals. Now what I'll do, I'll use the shift enter. So shift enter, I'll go to next line. I'll click on the small arrow. If you see this formula bar, there's a small arrow. Click on that, you'll get more space here in the formula bar so that you can write more lines of functions here. I'll say var. Var is nothing but kind of variable. If you guys have a little bit of programming knowledge, it will be more easy, but I'll explain you how to do this. Say I'll use a variable, say num1 equals say 20. Again shift enter. I'll say var num2 equals say 50. Then here I'll say result, sorry, return equals num1 plus say num. Say return. A simple way of using these variables, I'm just telling you, this is the column name. Add to num is the column name. Now what I've done is I've just taken num1 equals 20 and num2 equals 50. That means I'm taking two different variables, and then I'm trying to return a value to this add to number as num1 plus num2. This num1 can be anything. It can be a table, it can be a measure, or it can be anything. So why we have broken this like this is it will become easy so that all the values whatever is there, they can put it into one different variables, and I can use it anywhere in this function. Let's say enter. Okay, see here I'm getting this result here. It is taking. See, so here I've given value here. So in this I've taken add to num as the column name. One variable will have value 20, another variable will have 50. I'm adding these two and then I'm going to get the results here. So where this can be used, say I'll show you one more example. Let's go to this location table. Now instead of taking this hard-coded value. Let's take the fields itself. So how we can use these different variables for fields itself. I have this location. Let's say I want to combine this region and state. Concatenate. Okay. How to use this by using these variables? Let's say I'll click on this column again. I'll show you about measures also, how you can use this variables in measure. But let's see how we can use this column. Now here I'll say enter. So shift enter. Now I'll take one variable. Okay, this variable is nothing but it is like a space in the memory where I can just try to save it. I'll give one name, say get region equals, I'll say region from location. And say enter variable, I'll say get state equals state. The previous example, what we did, we just took hard-coded values, that is 20 and 50, then we say enter, I got the hard-coded result. But now what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to take the value from field itself. Now let me go here, I'll say here, we can also mention here one more variable, say region state equals concatenate, and I'll say, now instead of using this region, I can directly use this get region because that is a variable now. Then I'll say get state like this. Now I have to return a value. Go here, say return region state like this. Or see here, I can directly take this and I can put it here. Or I have taken one more variable for this and I can use this also. Now suppose somewhere I need to use this region state, then I can use this directly instead of again using this concatenate region and state. So like this. So like this you can keep breaking your say functions, and then you can use this in the calculations as well. Now let's say I'll go and I'll say enter here. So that result will come here. Says region state. See, I'll get the result. I could have done directly say region say comma state, that also I can do. I'm just telling you how we can use this variables. Now let's go here. We'll take one example for say measure as well. Say in measure also I can use this. Say for example, I have written one say what is this measure here, wherein what this measure will do is it will take the sum of the quantity or say the sales or whatever, and here I'm trying to say that in this month we have sold this much of say sales or whatever. Okay, now let's go here, just copy this, or we'll try to do it from beginning only. Let's create one measure. Take this data, say measure. So I'll make this as quantity status. Okay, say equals. Then we'll say shift enter. I'll take one variable and this, let's make it as total quantity equals sum of say quantity. So this quantity whatever is there, that will be in this total quantity. Next, shift enter. Now let's say I want one text. Say text one sold this one. Just a normal text. Then I'll say variable 2 okay. Now what we'll do is we'll take this total quantity for a condition saying that if we have sold anything, then say if it is greater than 0, we have sold so much. Otherwise, no sales. Say where status equals, already I've taken status there, equals if say total quantity. See here, I'm taking this value because this is a variable now, which will hold the value of the sum quantity is greater than 0. Then we'll say text 1 ampersand total quantity. That means here I'm saying sold this month these many quantity of products. Say text 2. Say if it is greater than 0, I'll say sold this month. The total quantity is this variable value and text 2 is this product. Right. I'll say comma. If it is false, we'll say no sales. Close bracket. See, this is one more variable now. Now whatever results I'm getting, that will be in this status. Now I'll go here, say enter, and say return that variable. That's it. So like this, see here, I'm taking the sum and I'm putting it into one variable. I'm taking one text and putting it into one variable, one more text, one more variable, and here I'm doing one more calculation which will be into one more variable here. Now let me go and say enter. So this is a measure. Fine. Now what we'll do, we'll go here, we'll go to that report, and here we'll try to create one table. Let me copy this table. Here. We remove this and let's take the quantity. Okay, now we have created one measure here, that is quantity status. So I'll take this also and I'll put it here, and let's see what will happen here. See, it is saying sold this month at 256 products. So it is just giving me the result here. So suppose if there is any 0 here, so what will happen here? It will say no sale. So depending on that condition. So if I want to write this kind of function, so whether it is a measure or say table or column, so everything has to be inside. Say for example, this sum of quantity, then here I have to put if the sum of data quantity is greater than 0, then text 1, so sold this month. So it will become like confusing, so it will be a very big function. So instead of that, you can put that into different variables and then you can do it. Let's say I have one more example here. So what I have done here is, again I'll not type this, I'll just copy and paste here depending on the time. So what this will do, it will just say whether it should say good morning or good afternoon or good evening. So here what I'm trying to do, I'm taking one current hour, that is the hour what we have now, the current hour now will give me the current time. I'm just trying to pull the hour from this now, and here what I'm saying, if the value, the current hour is less than 12, then that means it is morning. If it is less than 17, less than 17 means say 5 o'clock. then I'll say good afternoon. Otherwise, it should say good evening. So I'm just copying this, and here this is a column actually. So I'll go here in this customer table. I will say in column, and I'll do business. So here change the column name, customer. Okay. So here current R is nothing but the R, the current R what we have now. Then I'm using this. Say if it is less than 12, then it should be morning. If it is less than 17, that means 5 o'clock, it should be afternoon. Otherwise, it should be evening. I'll say enter. Right. Let me copy this table and I'll put it in one more sheet. Let me take this customer name. The customer name, then have this greeting which you have created. See, so it says good afternoon, and we have mentioned this customer name. So depending on the timing, suppose if it is after 5 o'clock, then this will become good evening. Suppose if it is in the morning, then it will say good morning. So like that. So like this, you can use the variables also. So I've given few more examples here. I can just try that. So the same DAX functions what we have used, I've just tried to break it so that the values which are coming, that will be in different variables, and then I can use that variables for returning the value. So here when I'm using this variable, one thing is I should have the column name, table name, or measure name, then all the variables. In this we have to mention VAR so that it will become like a variable. So here we are mentioning it as a variable. VAR is a keyword, and then variable name, make sure that this will not have space, and then whatever calculation I'm using, that will be assigned to this variable, or any value which is there, that can be assigned to this variable. And you don't have to bother about mentioning any data type for this variable, because this will take data types automatically. It can be a table, it can be a value, it can be a number, anything. It will automatically take the value. And then while returning, means you have to mention a return, so that the value whatever is there, that has to return to this column, table, or measure. Okay, so you can practice with these examples. So I've given, it's a very simple way. I've just mentioned everything here. Just try to work on this. So this is what we have in our advanced, say, DAX functions. Practice this. It is very, though it looks very complex, it is very simple actually. So you just have to go one by one, understand the functions, and then you can use it in multiple reports.